laying out lettering. Uh, Part of the reason, well, why I'm making this video, a lot of you have printers and are computer savvy, and you can do all this on your computer and print it out and maybe on your circuit and all that good stuff. I don't have that, so this is what I have to do. Basically, I kind of learned part of this by watching these guys that used to paint letters on storefront windows, you know, antiques, whatever. Okay, nowadays they can probably get it printed and you have stencils and stickies and things you can just decal on there, but I don't have that. So I have to make a window for a couple, and the child's name is Amelia Sue, and it's going to have a flower in each corner, dogwood, and a bird of paradise, and I have to get that enlarged slightly. So basically, this is the font that I have decided to use for the child's name. Okay, now I took this to a UPS store and I had them blow it up so that these letters, okay, straight along the bottom, okay, and the top, are 3 1/4 inches tall. Okay, then for myself, for sake of argument, I had to draw a line and a line because this is going to wind up going onto a grid. Now I had to figure out, okay, I had to measure the letters out to know how wide they're going to be, because I'm going to wind up having 1/2 inch spacing. See if I get this in frame. I'm going to have 1/2 inch spacing between each letter, but you have to know how wide the letters are, okay, because this is going to go on a background and it's going to have a little border around it, you know, of dead space, empty space. Okay, so I could figure out how big the panel about is going to be. Okay, so having done that, okay, so I had drawn, okay, this line here and this line here, and this is 3 1/4 inches, okay, because I'm basically making my own kind of stencil. Now, I'm in the process of lifting the letters off of the copy. Okay, and for that I'm using carbon paper underneath here, okay, and a ballpoint pen to go over, see, okay, and I do this because I'm going to be cutting these up basically, and then I'll be drawing these lines onto the paper that I'm going to be doing the sketches on for the rest of the window. We'll be laying these lines out first, and then using my carbon papered stencil. You see, when you blow things up like that, there's a few inconsistencies of the letters themselves. All of the, you know, not necessarily defects, but problems you may have with the lettering itself. Okay, so I'm using a straight edge. I'm using a straight edge just to help clean up all little bumpies. Okay, with the carbon paper underneath, and I'll use that as a stencil, part of the stencil, to help lay out the letters how I expect them to be, or how I want them to be, or how I can make corrections if I need to or want to. It can be an evolutionary process. So, and I use carbon paper a lot. Like I say, I'm just not computer savvy enough to be able to. Now, I tried that a while ago by enlarging everything on the computer, you know, and then trying to print it out, and I must have went through a ream of paper and I don't know how many cartridges, and that's where my patience level dies off right there. So I have these. Okay. But one of the things when you're using carbon paper, never pull out all your thumbtacks thinking, oh, I've got it down, I can take them all out, because you'll never get it lined up again. You'll wind up having to recopy. So that's pretty much my E. See? I left out a little line. Okay. So that's my E. This is the A. If this is in frame. This is the A. So I have the line that's going to line up when I do the grid to do the letters on. So I have A, E, and E gets used a couple times because it's Amelia Sue. I have an S and a U and an M and an I to do. Okay, so that's partially when I get all this transferred and then I start laying it out on the paper, you might get a better idea. Okay, because I have to be able to frame this out. Like I said, it's going to have a flower on one end and a flower on the other end, the Sue. And this is how I like to do these things. It just comes out a lot better. Then I can play around with the background. Okay, and I know some folks, well, why don't you use block letters? Well, you know, block letters are nice, but I want to have it to have a little oomph to it, a little more pop. You know, the child's only a few months old, and I'd like something that's going to be there well until, you know, after she's married, hopefully. So, thank you. God bless. Bye-bye.